Hi, my name is Jimmy Williams with NFL Draft Diamonds. And here with me today, I have a stud defensive lineman that I'd like you guys to meet. This here is Nash Hutmacher. He's a defensive tackle out of Nebraska. Nice to have you today, sir.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Hey, no problem. Obviously, we have defensive lineman from Nebraska. Nebraska, obviously, great program, of course, and you really had a solid career there, solid season this past year. I know you topped it off with a bowl win there at the very end and ended up recently being a part of the East West Shrine Bowl. So we'll talk about all this other stuff, but Nash, go ahead and introduce yourself before we get going.
Yeah, Nash Hutmacher. Obviously played defense line for Nebraska. Grew up in a super small town and didn't go. Went to Nebraska about 5 hours from home and got down there and first few years just developed as a player, got better, and then eventually got into that starting role. Kind of had a breakout season in my junior year, and then obviously the last 2 years there at Nebraska had really good two really good seasons. So it was, the beginning of it was just a lot of developing, and then got to that starting role and just kind of stuck there.
Yeah, and in my notes, Nash, I have that you are, I guess, from South Dakota.
Yep,
uh,
South Dakota.
in in what is it, Oklahoma,
Yep.
South Dakota, and attended Chamberlain High School during your time there. But Nash, if we could go even further back, if at all possible, how long have you played football?
I've been playing since I could. Played flag football in like third grade. Did all that. Wrestled same time, just as quick as I could. I was either wrestling, playing football, or doing something.
Great. In my notes, I have that you had done some track and field during your time there at Chamberlain High School. A fairly decent track and field athlete, 54 feet in the shot, over 163 in the discus. Certainly fair, but if we are being real, you are a standout wrestler during your high school days. A four-time high school wrestling champion who was undefeated. So I was able to find out. So um, talk a little bit about that background because I mean I know that's a huge part of who you are.
Yeah, obviously, four-time state champ, undefeated, all that. Was at one or my senior year, I was the number one ranked heavyweight in the country. So really, really successful high school wrestling career, and kind of early on thought that I was going to wrestle in college, and then kind of between sophomore and junior year is when schools like Nebraska and started reaching out, and then that's when I was like, yeah, no, it's I'm gonna play football. So.
Well, I mean, I believe you did at least a little bit of wrestling while you were there at Nebraska, right?
Yeah, so I took basically 4 years off from wrestling, and then this last year, Coach Manning called me and was like, "You want to come give it a shot?" And I was like, "Screw it, yeah, let's do it." So and ended up after 4 years of not wrestling, going out and ended up qualifying for nationals, D1 nationals in my first year back in 4 years, and did an All American, but certainly had a very good year for a guy that hadn't done it for 4 years.
I mean, certainly if you wanted to, I know you could have done that throughout all of your time in college. If you wanted to, pursue that to its fullest. But of course, you chose to stick with football, trying to get yourself in the NFL, really pursue your dreams. What is it about football that you love so much?
I think when I was younger, just not fully understanding kind of football, and then as I got older, learning more, just how the game works, how it is, just started to fall in love with it more. I mean, there's no better feeling than getting a big time sack at the end of a game or something like that. Just the older I got, the more I grew to love football more, and obviously I thought my ceiling in football was a lot higher, so just a lot more room to develop in that aspect of things, and there's just a lot more opportunity with football after high school wrestling, or after high school. So
So, for a kid out of South Dakota, um, who are you a fan of growing up, man? Was there a particular team or player? I mean, I'm thinking to myself, maybe the Vikings in proximity. Like, I don't know how that works. I mean, I don't know
Yeah,
maybe if the family, had
no,
other teams they root for. What?
I was a Steelers fan growing up, actually my entire life, and my uncle was a Steelers fan, and he lived right down the street, so we'd always go over there, and on Sundays I'd watch the games with him. Just kind of got brainwashed into it. So been a Steelers fan basically my whole life.
All right, fair enough. Guys playing your position right now. I mean, who have you been a fan of, or who were you a fan of growing up?
I mean, obviously, I was when I was younger. JJ Watt was like the guy. Like he was my guy. I loved watching him play. But and being a Steelers fan, Cam Hayward, he's always been just an incredible defense lineman. Really like Harrison Phillips. Just the way he plays, he's another guy that I would watch from time to time. And just yeah. So those are a couple guys that I've watched quite a bit.
Cool. So, Nash, obviously, with all of your success there in high school, I'm pretty sure there were several schools that were coming knocking your way, offering you scholarships for football, scholarships for wrestling. What made you ultimately decide to go to Nebraska?
Yeah. Yeah, I could have went a lot of different places for wrestling. Had some offers to play other places in football, and at the end of the day, what it came down to is just, I don't know if you've ever been to a Nebraska game day, but going down there, it's a madhouse, man. It's incredible the fan support that program gets. So just finally getting to a game and seeing that was definitely really cool. But the big reason was just because I knew it was going to be a lot like home. Obviously, it wasn't too far from home. A lot of the same kind of Midwest people around. So it was just I knew what I was going to get myself into. Wasn't going all the way across the country. I was close enough to home to be able to get back if I needed to or whatever. So that's kind of how I ended up settling on it.
I mean, definitely would have been a whole lot different. Like if you would have gone all the way out west to like California, Arizona, or something, or or the other way around, of course. But like you had mentioned, I mean, Nebraska seemed a lot like home.
Yeah.
And you were there for a while. And what did you do there as a student? Have you been able to graduate yet, or what's your academic status?
Yeah, I graduated, got a, degree in business administration. Graduated here last May. So
Cool. Well, hey, it's great that you got that degree. It's a good check mark in life, and you got that taken care of so that the parents are happy. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
Oh
And
yeah.
obviously you yourself. So, Nash, let's talk about you as a defensive lineman. Again, maybe playing that nose position that you're basically out there to take up some space, eat up some blocks, and allow some of the other guys around you to really make some of those plays. Can you kind of talk a little bit about your own personal experience on that offensive line, if you don't mind?
Yeah. Obviously with Chenander, we were more of a two gapping defense. Our old defensive coordinator with Frost, we were more of a two gap defense. That was kind of before I started playing. Like I said, a lot of development. And then that last year with Chins, played quite a bit. Played that nose position, just holding it down in the middle there, making plays when I could. And then the last 2 years with Tony White, really, I think is, I think his style of defense, his the way he calls the game, he wants the D line to make plays. It's not the two gap hold up, let linebackers flow. Like the way he designs his defense is to let those defensive linemen make plays, and I think it showed in these last 2 years with me and Ty, especially in the middle. Being able to make a lot of plays up the middle. As a nose, getting pressure, getting to the quarterback when I can. Put claps in the pocket and making plays in the run game. That's what I do best. It's what I did here these last few years with Tony White. So it was awesome.
So you had mentioned some things there, with your ability to collapse the pocket, allow other guys around you, such as Ty and some of those other players, to make some of these plays. We've already talked about Ty, but go ahead and talk about some other, key contributors there on that defense.
Yeah, obviously, we had playmakers all around the place. Tommy Hill on the outside, he was, before he got hurt there towards the end of the season, that guy was locked down, made some really big plays for us. Isaac Gifford in the secondary, making plays in the middle, commanding the troops out to safety back there, and we had Marquise Buford, Deshaun. We had playmakers all over the field, man. It was awesome. We had some young guys, Vincent Shavers, towards the end of the year, freshman, true freshman, out there flying around the bowl game, making plays. Like our defense was ferocious. Coach Knight and T Knight always preached to us that starts with us up front. We go out there, we set the tone as that defensive line, and as we went, the defense went. If the defensive line was out there rolling, flying around, having fun, like it spread to that entire defense. That's what we tried to do out there every single time we were out on the field is just get drive started as a defensive line, just bring the juice the whole game.
Yeah, I mean, really what I keep thinking of is there are certain teams there in the Big Ten, such as Nebraska, where it is full on trench warfare. Sometimes where, like the offense and defensive line, they are going at it like crazy. Every so often, you'll get these games that are low scoring games. They're huge defensive matchups, like, going back and forth. And obviously, you're playing your part in that, and a lot of other guys around you that you had mentioned really making a lot of those great plays. Um, uh, maybe some of these players you had mentioned, or perhaps some other people during your time there at Nebraska. Who do you feel has been maybe perhaps the most influential person during your athletic development as an NFL prospect, through your time there, or maybe outside of Nebraska?
Yeah, I think some of the big guys that really helped me when I was younger was Ben Stilley. My freshman year helped me a ton. Then Damian Daniels, he was our nose when I got down there. That guy helped me a ton just to just keep my head up, keep my head down, keep grinding, like telling me how good of a player I can be and really making me believe that. And so after he left, it was he made sure to tell me that it was my time to take over that starting nose spot. And so those guys helped out a ton when I was younger, and then just having Ty by me every single year in year out. I mean, the way we pushed each other in practice, everything was a competition with us. It was that guy made me better and I made him better. Being in the same room, bouncing ideas off each other. Just that, the chemistry Ty and I built over the last 3 years, really playing a lot of snaps together was awesome. We didn't even have to talk to each other out there. It was just you give him a look and we knew what each other were doing. So it was to be able to play with that guy the last 3 years was incredible. He's one of my best friends. Will be for a long time. So.
Uh, Obviously, you and Ty really holding that defense together there for these past couple seasons. You had mentioned Ben Stilley. Love that guy. He was such a hard worker. Love watching him work out there. And a lot of great guys doing some great things. Saw Robinson the other day kill his combine. So it's always nice to watch that and cheer him on. Hey, let's talk about some of your highlights throughout your career, man, if you don't mind. A lot of great things happening for the program. A lot of young guys taking the helm, which is kind of an interesting twist there for Nebraska. So this past season, you guys going 7-6. Um, Fair record, of course, maybe not exactly what you want, but fair enough for you guys to get a bowl opportunity, which you took advantage of. Talk about the highs and lows of this past year.
This past year, you said?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we started off. We were rolling. Started off. I believe we were 5-0. feeling really good. Ended up going to Indiana, and we kind of got our tails kicked in that game. But just the way that team, it's nothing we haven't been through, especially the older guys. We went through coaching changes, 3-win seasons. We that older group of guys, we've been through a lot, so we really tried to keep the team together. And after we lost a few games there back to back, a lot of the younger guys, hadn't been through something like that. They come from places where they were winning all the time, so just being able to keep the locker room together, tell those young guys like, hey, we're gonna be all right. Like the sky's not falling. Like everything's gonna be good. Like I said, because we'd been through some crap in our time, all of us older guys, and then ended up, getting to a bowl game. That was the first one we'd been to in my career there at Nebraska. So it was an incredible feeling, to be able to finally get it done. You go to a school wanting to leave it better than you found it. So being able to get us to a bowl game that last season, win the bowl game, have the first winning season, and however many years for Nebraska was pretty special for us older guys. Great way to go out. Obviously, it's not exactly where we wanted to be, but just to be able to end the career in that way was pretty special.
I mean, fairly, nice way to close things out. Again, just kind of want to go back to some of what you said. Of course, Nebraska football isn't what you guys want it to be. Having coaching changes really put a lot of pressure on the veterans like yourself to really step it up and help lead the team. So, and with that, obviously, you guys were able to uh, continue with what you had to get done this season. And then obviously, winning out strong. So I do want to talk about some of these games more so in depth, if you don't mind. One of the games you personally did fairly well in was your game against Purdue. That was a pretty solid outing. You guys went 28-10 with a victory in that game. Can you maybe walk me through, some of that game if you can remember anything?
Yeah, no. When I think of that game from this past year, I mean, it was a typical old Big Ten West football game. I mean, it was both defenses were playing really well. Our offense was definitely playing better than theirs, but just get couldn't get in the end zone. Couldn't. We had two blocked kicks during that game. But I was after talking with some of the guys after the game. It was like we were never worried. We knew that they weren't going to be able to put up a bunch of points on us on defense. So we just need to keep giving our offense opportunities to score, and that's what we did. John Bullock ended up catching a pick six. It was just awesome. John's he was a walk on linebacker, been through tossed to the mud, been all different positions, and guy that just stuck through it. Was a 6-year guy. To be able to watch him run the end zone with a pick six was just, I mean, it was awesome. I couldn't have been more happy for him just because everything he'd been through in his career. But yeah, it was, like I said, just a knockdown, drag out defensive ball game until the end. I don't think the end's final score really does that one justice because we put up whatever 20 points in the fourth quarter alone. So it was just a Big Ten ball game.
Is a battle basically. So I
Yeah.
mean, I definitely hear you there. And then again, the final game of the season, winning your bowl game against Boston College. Again, we're looking at a defensive struggle. Where you guys are, trying your best to, hold them back. Hold them to, getting 15 points. Anything that you can remember from that game?
Yeah, no, that game. I mean, it was raining a ton beforehand. The field was just sopping wet. I mean, guys were tackling dudes and sliding 15 yards out of bounds. I mean, the field was just nasty. It was hard to get your footing.
Mm.
That kind of probably tested the offensive struggles in that game. Just the field conditions were not ideal. It was in Yankee Stadium, not really a football field. So the drainage on one end of the field, there was puddles in the field. I mean, it was a crapshoot getting your footing down on the one end of the field. But yeah, defense played really well. Ty actually ripped a sack out of my hands. I'm gonna remember that one for a while. That was, just the typical. We were racing the quarterback. He just beat me. So had my hand on him, and Ty pulled him down before I could actually get on him. But no, it was like I said, it was an awesome game. Being able to end the career that way with the bull win was awesome.
Damn it, Ty. Just give me one, man. Come on.
Yeah.
I hear you. So you wrap things up there. You end up at the East West Shrine Bowl. You go out there, you showcase yourself in front of all these NFL scouts. What do you remember from that week?
It was obviously a super busy week. I just remember being out there with some of the best guys from across the country, some talking with other defensive linemen, talking with different O linemen, talking with just all these different guys that are play at a really elite level. Guys from East Coast, West Coast, guys from all over the place, and just being able to talk football with them, being able to talk football with NFL coaches. Our D line coach there was with the Dolphins. He's assistant for them, so just being able to be around all that knowledge, all that football for that week was awesome, and obviously got to get to know some of the other guys in the class. So it was a phenomenal week being out there competing against some of the best guys in the country.
So you think you impressed the Dolphins coach so much so that they may want you to come down to Miami or what?
I sure hope so. I was doing my best.
Well, I'm just kind of curious. I mean, as to whether or not this guy out from South Dakota can survive in Miami. But if that's something that you're ready to do, hey, it would certainly be quite interesting. Maybe a little culture change for you a little bit. What do you think?
Oh yeah, no, it definitely would be, but I mean, I'll make it work wherever I'm at. I'm not worried about going to any specific city or anything.
It's
Like,
all good, man. I
I'll
just I
make it
just
work.
I just tease you a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know. There are several places that I know you can fit well, just well in, of course. Obviously, a lot of guys right now participating in the NFL Combine. You yourself maybe thought was a snub for that event. Uh, Thoughts?
Yeah, no, really wanted to be there. Really thought I did enough to get there, but just gonna use that one to just use it to work, to motivate myself every single day, have that chip on my shoulder. Kind of always played with that chip on my shoulder. Just, I'm a small town kid from South Dakota, not a lot of guys make it happen from South Dakota. So just, I've always kind of had that chip on my shoulder. A lot of guys don't even get chances that, maybe should. So that's just, it's nothing I'm not used to.
Hey, it's fine. Again, we're looking at a guy who I know is strong as an ox. Those people there, in Nebraska, they're obviously feeding you guys well. I mean, you guys have great trainers putting you in a good position to be, NFL prospects. Uh, Talk about your growth in that area, if you don't mind.
Yeah, no, definitely. We talked about Ben and Damien. Those guys kind of mentoring me. The thing that I'm so happy they told me when I was a young player is to um, never take, the getting in the training room, doing some extra recovery, hitting the tubs, hitting boots, doing that stuff. That's something they taught me doing. When you're a young freshman and your body feels great. Like, oh, I don't need to do all that, but started doing that pretty consistently when I was a young player, and it obviously just continued to be a habit as I got older. So that's definitely something that I love those guys for just making sure to just keep my body right, and it made it super easy transition being in the training room all the time and just staying healthy. Thankfully, I was able to stay really healthy, for being a defensive lineman in my career in Nebraska. So.
Yeah, and again, we're looking at a guy who can bench over 460 pounds, can squat over 760 pounds, something of that matter, dude. I mean, I know that you can put on you can lift some solid weight. I'm pretty sure you could probably lift my car if you wanted to.
Yeah.
Just kind of flip it over like some, Hulk. Uh, hey, obviously you're working right now. You're down at Velocity. Talk that facility up if you don't mind.
Yeah, no, Velocity, they're incredible. Luke, Josh, Xavier, our D-line coach, like as professional as it gets, just in how they carry themselves, how they treat us. Obviously, everything they do is in our best interest. They have a plan. They've been phenomenal the entire time I've been here. They're awesome people. Obviously, great top of the line trainers, but they're also just incredible people that are awesome to be around every day.
Awesome. So, of course, putting yourself in a position to, get yourself right and prepared for your upcoming pro day. When is that?
March 25th.
So March 25th, going to be here before we know it, man.
Yeah.
So definitely be prepared for that one. Uh, let's get just a moment to see what else we could find out about this Nash Hutmacher guy. Anything else about you feel people need to know, other than your wrestling background, other than the fact that you're a good, nose tackle out there, who's able to push the pocket, like who's the guy under the helmet? Talk to me.
Yeah. I'm grew up obviously small town, love hunting, fishing, boating, being out on the water, doing all those different types of things. Just in Lincoln, I'm a guy that loves just being around the fellas, like no matter who it is, whatever it is. I love just hanging out, building, especially being on a team, building relationships with those guys as they're coming in, the younger guys. Because at the end of the day, that's what it's about, is those relationships you build. When the end of a football game, when you need to get someone's head on straight and you're yelling at them, like they're not going to take that the right way if you haven't built those relationships with them. So that's something I'm all about, especially as I've gotten older. That's something that I really take pride in. But yeah, just just a guy that loves football.
No, it's cool. As an outdoorsman, do you fancy yourself? I don't know. Do you cook the own game that you take, or what's your how's that work?
Yeah, we growing up hunting. I mean, we basically eat everything that we would hunt or fish. So yeah, we've eaten it all.
So are you big on, like, deer jerky, deer steak?
Oh yeah,
Like,
love
are you
deer. I mean, love deer jerky, steaks, all that. Eat a lot of pheasant. Being from South Dakota, we're like basically the pheasant capital of the United States. Pretty much right where I'm at. So I grew up hunting a lot of pheasants, eating a lot of pheasants. My uncle actually owns a guiding operation, Halverson Hunts, that I mean, it's top of the line hunting out there. So I was very fortunate to love to be an outdoorsman and have all that just right there where I'm from.
I've never had pheasant. How does that differ from other fowl?
I would say pheasant is it's pretty, it's just like anything else. But I would say it's most similar to chicken. They're basically just colorful chickens, like is how I, describe it to people. They don't really have a gamey taste at all. With deer and stuff, you can sometimes get that gamey taste, but pheasants, they're super lean, and they don't have that gamey kind of taste with them too. So very similar to it's the closest thing you're going to get to chicken with wild game animals.
Okay. I'm just kind of curious if there's like a particular recipe or something that I need to try out.
Yeah, I mean, so we would basically, you can cook it any way that you cook chicken, you can cook pheasant. We'll make pheasant parmesan with pasta. We'll bread it, fry it. We'll cook it in the oven. You can literally do whatever you want with pheasant. We'll put it in a crock pot. We made buffalo pheasant dip before. Like it's pretty much
It's,
everything you can do with chicken, you can do with pheasant.
it's practically the same thing then. It's just something that you get yourself that,
Yeah.
like you said, is lean. So nice. It's been fun getting to know you outside of football as well. I mean, I was trying to pick your brain a little bit. Again, being an outdoorsman, I mean, you always wonder what guys are into. But we are coming close to the end of our time, and do feel like we need to wrap things up. Obviously, man, I know you want to hear your name called on draft day. Um, Go ahead and tell these scouts why you feel you need to be one of these guys and what you would bring to a club if given said opportunity. So, end with your final thoughts.
Yeah, I'm a guy that's going to show up and be the same guy every day. Not a lot of ups and downs with me. In a good, in a good sense. Show up. I'm going to be the same guy every day. I'm going to put the hard hat on. I'm going to go to work. I'm going to, it's something that I've done my entire time. Is just I'm not going to stop until I get to the top. Whether that's getting on a team, working my into rotation, and then eventually being that starting guy. I obviously with the wrestling, I went in after 4 years, hadn't wrestled, went in and beat a Division I starting wrestler to take his job and qualify for nationals. Like it's once I get my mind to something, like I'm gonna get it done. I'm gonna find a way. No one's gonna outwork me for it. So you know, um, that's how I was raised. That's how I grew up. That's what it's gonna come down to.
There is something about that wrestling background, that mentality, that one-on-one where you have to, beat the guy in front of you. And of course, you've proven that you have been able to establish leverage early on. And you can move the pocket, and really create opportunities for your teammates to shine. An unselfish guy who's willing to play his role. So, Nash, want to wish you all the best in your endeavors. Okay.
Perfect. Thank you.
Sure thing. Once again, I got with me Nash Hutmacher, defensive lineman out of Nebraska. Check him out.